In the village of Awambori, nestled between the rolling hills and the lush greenery of the forest, life moved slowly. The sun rose each day to reveal the vibrant colors of the village, where laughter mingled with the sweet scent of wildflowers. In this peaceful place lived a man named Obina, a kind but lonely soul. After losing his wife to a mysterious illness, Obina had become somewhat of an outcast, spending most of his time in solitude. His niece, Adeze, was a bright, cheerful girl of 16. Orphaned at a young age, she had come to live with Obina, hoping to find a sense of belonging. While the villagers whispered about the strange relationship between them, Adeze saw Obina as a father figure, someone she could trust and rely on. As she settled into her new life, she hoped to bring joy back into her uncle's heart. Over time, a strong bond formed between Obina and Adeze. They shared meals, told stories, and even laughed at the villagers' superstitions about ghosts that haunted the nearby forest. However, there was an unspoken tension that lingered beneath the surface. Obina often asked Adeze to sleep in his room, claiming it was for her safety against the dangers lurking outside. Adeze, eager to please her uncle, obliged without question. At night, they would sit by the dim glow of the oil lamp, and Obina would share tales of his youth, of adventures and mischief in the village. Adeze loved these stories, her heart swelling with pride at her uncle's bravery. Yet, as the days turned to weeks, she began to notice a change in Obina's demeanor. He grew more possessive, his gaze lingering a moment too long, and Adeze felt a knot of confusion tightening in her stomach. One evening, while fetching water from the river, Adeze overheard the village women gossiping. "Did you hear? Obina sleeps with his niece. It is unnatural." They laughed, their voices dripping with malice. Adeze's heart raced as she realized the implications of their words. She hurried home, her mind racing with thoughts of betrayal. Did her uncle truly have those intentions, or were the villagers simply fabricating stories? As she approached their home, the familiar scent of her uncle's cooking wafted through the air. Momentarily calming her fears, Obina welcomed her with a warm smile. Oblivious to the turmoil in her heart, she forced a smile in return, pushing the troubling thoughts aside for the moment. As days turned into weeks, Adeze found it increasingly difficult to ignore the whispers. Obina continued to treat her with affection, but there were moments when his gaze lingered just a little too long. The atmosphere grew heavy with unspoken tension, making her heart pound with confusion and fear. One fateful night, while they sat together under the stars, Obina leaned closer and whispered, "You are the only light in my life, Adeze. Without you, I would be lost." A shiver ran down her spine as she sensed an intensity in his voice she had never heard before. Despite the unease in her heart, Adeze felt a strange warmth at his words. But the village's whispers echoed in her mind, fueling her fear. Was her uncle's love for her pure, or did it hide a darker secret? One day, after hearing more gossip about their relationship, Adeze decided to confront Obina. "Uncle, do you love me?" she asked, her voice trembling. Obina was taken aback by the question but quickly regained his composure. "Of course, my dear. You are my only family," he replied. But Adeze pressed further. "No, uncle. I mean, do you love me as a man loves a woman?" A heavy silence fell between them. Obina's expression shifted, revealing a mixture of surprise and something else, an emotion Adeze couldn't quite place. Finally, he sighed. "Adeze, you must understand that my heart has been lonely since your aunt's passing. I never meant to make you uncomfortable." Her heart sank as his words confirmed her fears. After their conversation, Adeze felt a weight settle on her shoulders. She had to make a choice. Should she continue living with Obina, who had been her protector and guide, or should she leave, fearing the potential danger his feelings posed? That night, she lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, contemplating her options. She loved her uncle and cherished their bond, but the thought of becoming something she wasn't filled her with dread. In the end, Adeze decided to confront the issue directly. She would talk to Obinna again, laying her feelings bare. She believed that open communication was the only way to salvage their relationship. The next morning, Adeze gathered her courage and approached Obinna as he prepared breakfast. "Uncle, can we talk?" she asked, her voice steady despite the nervous flutter in her stomach. Obinna nodded. Concern etched on his face. "Of course, Adeze. What's troubling you?" Taking a deep breath, she spoke from her heart. "I love you as family, but I cannot be the woman you desire. I need you to understand that our relationship must remain pure." Obinna's expression turned somber. "I never meant to make you uncomfortable, Adeze. I have struggled with my feelings, but I promise to respect your wishes." Relief washed over her as she realized that they could still have a loving relationship, free of the complications that had begun to cloud their lives. Despite their heartfelt conversation, things began to change between them. Obinna, while trying to honor Adeze's wishes, became more withdrawn. He was still kind, but there was a palpable distance in his eyes. Adeze missed their old bond and longed for the days when laughter filled their home. The villagers continued to gossip, and Adeze felt trapped in their scrutiny. Every whispered conversation and pointed finger made her anxious. She often found herself wishing for an escape, a way to start anew, away from Awambori. One day, an old friend of Obinna's, Chijioke, visited Awambori. He was a cheerful man with a contagious laugh, and Adeze felt a glimmer of hope as he filled their home with laughter and joy. Chijioke's presence lightened the atmosphere, and for the first time in weeks, Adeze saw a smile return to her uncle's face. As they spent more time together, Chijioke began to notice the tension between Obinna and Adeze. One evening, he pulled Obinna aside. "My friend, you must not let this girl slip away. She is a treasure," he urged, unaware of the complications that lay beneath the surface. Obinna, however, only sighed. "You don't understand, Chijioke. She is my family and I must protect her, even if it means letting her go." As the festival of Awambori approached, excitement buzzed in the air. Villagers prepared for the annual celebration filled with dancing, music, and food. Adeze had always loved this festival, but this year, the thought of attending without the joy she once felt weighed heavy on her heart. Chijioke convinced Adeze to join him for the festivities. "You need to enjoy life, Adeze." "Let's celebrate," he exclaimed, pulling her along. Reluctantly, she agreed, hoping the celebration would lift her spirits. That night, under the stars, Adeze danced and laughed with Chijioke, momentarily forgetting her troubles. However, in the back of her mind, she could still feel the shadow of her uncle's unspoken feelings. As the festival reached its peak, a sudden storm swept through the village, scattering the festivities. The villagers rushed to find shelter, but Adeze found herself separated from Chijioke. She sought refuge in a nearby hut, hoping the rain would pass quickly. But the storm raged on, and soon she heard a familiar voice outside. It was Obinna, searching frantically for her. "Adeze, where are you?" he called, his voice filled with panic. Hearing his worry, Adeze rushed outside to find him. As she stepped into the rain, they locked eyes, and in that moment, all the unspoken feelings between them flooded back. Obinna's heart raced as he took her hand, pulling her close. In the midst of the storm, the emotions between them erupted. Obinna, overwhelmed by fear and longing, cupped Adeze's face in his hands. "I cannot lose you, Adeze. You mean everything to me." Tears mixed with the rain as Adeze struggled with her own feelings. "Uncle, please don't. We can't go back to this," she cried. But his intense gaze held her captive. Before she could protest further, Obinna kissed her, and time seemed to stand still. For a moment, the world around them disappeared, and all that existed was their shared heartbeat. But as the storm intensified, Adese's clarity returned and she pushed him away, gasping for breath. "Uncle, we can't do this. We can't!" she exclaimed, her heart pounding in her chest. Obinna stepped back, hurt and confusion swelling in his eyes. The reality of their situation hit them both like a wave, crashing over their moment of vulnerability. The storm eventually passed, leaving the village soaked but alive. The following days were heavy with an unspoken tension. Obinna avoided Adese, consumed by guilt and shame. He felt as though he had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed, and the bond they once shared was now tainted. Adese, on the other hand, felt a mix of emotions: confusion, anger, and a deep sadness. The whispering villagers now felt more like a reality than ever before, suffocating her with their scrutiny. She yearned for the joy they once shared, but every interaction was now laced with a haunting silence. One evening, unable to bear the tension any longer, Adese sought out Chijioke. "Can I leave Awambori?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I need to get away to find myself." Chijioke nodded, understanding the pain in her eyes. "You can come with me. I will always be here for you." With a heavy heart, Adese prepared to leave the only home she had known. She approached Obinna one last time, hoping to find closure. "Uncle, I am leaving," she said softly. His face fell as he looked as though he had aged years in just a few days. "I understand," he replied, his voice barely a whisper. "But know that you will always have a place in my heart." Tears filled Adese's eyes as she stepped closer, embracing him tightly. "I love you, Uncle, but I need to find my own way." Obinna held her close, feeling the weight of her words. As she broke away, he felt a mix of pride and sorrow, knowing that she had the strength to pursue her dreams, even if it meant leaving him behind. Adese traveled with Chijioke to a neighboring village. A sense of freedom washed over her. With every step, she felt lighter, as if shedding the burdens of her past. They arrived in a vibrant village, bustling with life, laughter, and love. The people welcomed them with open arms, and Adese felt a renewed sense of hope. While she missed Obinna, she also felt empowered by her decision. Adese discovered a passion for crafting beautiful textiles, using her creativity to express herself. Each piece she created was a reflection of her journey, a story woven into the fabric. Back in Awambori, Obinna watched as his niece blossomed from afar. Though their relationship had changed, he found solace in knowing she was safe and thriving. The whispers of the villagers faded, replaced by a deep understanding of love, one that allowed for distance but held the power to heal. In the heart of the village, life continued, and as the seasons changed, so too did the stories of the people. Adese's journey taught them all that love comes in many forms, and that sometimes letting go is the greatest act of love of all. Years later, Adese returned to Awambori, a successful artisan, her heart full of stories to share. She found Obinna waiting for her, his eyes gleaming with pride and affection. They embraced, and in that moment, the past was reconciled. The bond they shared was no longer burdened by misunderstandings or societal whispers. It was a bond forged in love, respect, and a deep understanding of one another. And as the sun set over Awambori, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, they knew that their story was only just beginning. Together, they would continue to weave a tapestry of love, family, and newfound freedom. Thank you for joining us on this journey through African folklore. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel for more captivating tales from the heart of Africa. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know which folktale you'd like to hear next. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring the magic of storytelling.